Heather Headley reveals why Hollywood threw her out, the real story behind her departure. In the entertainment world, it's not unusual to hear about talented stars who seem to vanish overnight. Rumors swirl, stories get twisted, and narratives emerge that aren't always rooted in truth. One such name that often sparks curiosity is Heather Headley, the powerhouse vocalist and actress known for her unforgettable performances on Broadway and in music. Recently, discussions resurfaced about why Headley seemingly disappeared from the Hollywood spotlight. Some speculated she was thrown out or edged aside. But in truth, Heather Headley's story is far from a tale of rejection. Instead, it's one of intentional choices, personal priorities, and a deep understanding of life beyond fame. A rising star who could do it all. Heather Headley burst onto the scene in the late 1990s, and it didn't take long for the world to recognize her star power. Born in Trinidad and raised in Indiana, Headley brought a unique blend of Caribbean soul, Broadway sophistication, and vocal prowess to every role she took on. She first made a splash on Broadway as Nayla in Disney's The Lion King, captivating audiences with her expressive voice and commanding stage presence. But it was her starring role in Aida, Elton John and Tim Rice's musical, that solidified her as a true Broadway icon. For Aida, Headley earned a Tony Award for Best Actress in a musical in 2000, a moment that seemed to promise an unstoppable rise to superstardom. Not content to be limited to the theater, Headley then pivoted to a music career. Her debut album, This Is Who I Am, released in 2002, received critical acclaim and commercial success. It even earned her Grammy nominations and firmly positioned her as a multifaceted artist capable of dominating in both acting and music. With her rare combination of talents, it seemed Hollywood would be rolling out the red carpet. Instead, after a few years, Heather Headley appeared to step back, puzzling fans and industry insiders alike. Hollywood didn't push her out, she walked away. Contrary to some of the dramatic headlines suggesting Heather was thrown out of Hollywood, the reality is quite different. Heather Headley wasn't forced out. She chose to step away. And the reason was deeply personal: family. In several candid interviews over the years, Headley has been refreshingly honest about her decision. She emphasized that while career opportunities continue to come her way, she made a conscious choice to prioritize her home life over Hollywood. "I didn't want to wake up 15 years from now and realize that my children didn't know who I was," she said in a 2016 interview with NPR. That simple, heartfelt explanation reveals the true heart of her story. Heather Headley wasn't discarded by an unforgiving industry. She turned away from it, seeking balance and fulfillment that couldn't be found on a stage or on a screen. The pressures of Hollywood and Broadway. Choosing to walk away from the height of a career isn't easy, especially in industries like Hollywood and Broadway where momentum is everything. In entertainment, it's often believed that if you're not constantly seen, you're forgotten. Actors are taught to fear obscurity almost as much as failure. But Heather Headley had the courage to challenge that norm. She understood that fame, while intoxicating, can also be hollow if it comes at the cost of personal joy and connection. The truth is, the demands of the entertainment industry are relentless. Broadway, in particular, requires grueling 8-show weeks, and the world of recording and touring demands long stretches away from home. For someone with young children, as Headley had at the time, that kind of schedule could be devastating to family life. So, Heather made the radical decision to step back, understanding that real success meant being present for the milestones that fame would cause her to miss. A career still rich with achievements. Even as she pulled away from Hollywood's fast lane, Headley didn't vanish completely. In fact, she continued to build an impressive body of work on her own terms. She won a Grammy Award for her gospel album Audience of One in 2010, proving her versatility and depth as an artist. In 2012, she starred in London's West End in The Bodyguard, the musical, adapted from Whitney Houston's legendary film. The production was a smash hit, and Headley's performance earned rave reviews. In 2016, she returned to Broadway to join the revival of The Color Purple as Shug Avery, replacing Jennifer Hudson. Once again, she wowed critics and audiences alike with her magnetic presence and emotional depth. Television also came calling. Heather had memorable roles in hit shows like She's Gotta Have It and Sweet Magnolias on Netflix, introducing her to a new generation of fans. All of these accomplishments show that while she may have chosen a quieter, more selective path, Heather Headley never truly left the arts. She simply reshaped her career to fit her life, not the other way around. The price of slowing down. Heather's decision didn't come without challenges. In an industry obsessed with what's next, taking a step back often means being forgotten by casting directors, producers, and audiences who are constantly searching for the newest star. But Headley was willing to pay that price. She understood that true success was not in constant visibility, but in creating a life rich with meaning. "I didn't want to be that parent who wasn't there," she once said. For Headley, missing a few professional opportunities was a small sacrifice compared to the joy of being there for birthdays, school plays, and bedtime stories. In many ways, her journey offers a powerful counter-narrative to the idea that career is everything. It's a reminder that stepping away can be just as brave, if not braver, than stepping into the spotlight. Changing definitions of success. Heather Headley's story invites us to rethink what success looks like. In a world that often measures achievement by fame, fortune, and nonstop productivity, her choice to slow down and to live life fully outside the public eye is quietly revolutionary. Success for Headley isn't about constant awards or viral fame. It's about living with integrity to her values, faith, family, and authentic creativity. Even now, Heather Headley continues to create when and how she chooses. Whether she's singing alongside Andrea Bocelli on world tours, starring in Netflix dramas, or releasing new music, she remains a force, not because she never left, but because she returned on her own terms. A legacy of grace and strength. Looking back on her career so far, it's clear that Heather Headley has left an indelible mark on the arts. Her voice, her presence, and her courage have inspired countless fans and fellow artists. She has shown that it's possible to be both brilliant and balanced, to chase dreams without sacrificing the moments that matter most. She has modeled a different kind of success, one rooted not in the fickle approval of Hollywood, but in the enduring love of family and the satisfaction of staying true to oneself. Final thoughts. The real story behind the headlines. So, was Heather Headley thrown out of Hollywood? Absolutely not. The idea couldn't be further from the truth. Heather Headley didn't lose her place. She chose a different one, a place where she could be a present mother, a loving wife, a faithful woman, and still an extraordinary artist. She redefined her path, setting an example for others who may one day face a similar choice between fame and family. In a culture that often celebrates burnout as a badge of honor, Heather Headley's story is a breath of fresh air. It's a reminder that stepping back isn't weakness. Sometimes it's the greatest act of strength. Hollywood didn't reject Heather Headley. She simply realized she didn't need Hollywood to validate her worth. And in doing so, she built a life that's richer, fuller, and even more beautiful than any red carpet moment could ever capture.